There's a pretty cool sight. 7 Glocks on a table. Straight shooter coming at you with an informative video today on what I call the history of the Glock, or basically the first couple of years of the Glock and what put Glock on the map. I think it's an interesting story, and if I come across something that's interesting and informative, I feel like it's my obligation to bring it to you, the viewer. So I'm going to be mixing in these types of videos along with my range videos, which we have a lot of those coming out, and along with going to the gun shop, which is always a good time, along with me looking at my guns one-on-one and discussing them. But today's concept is the Glock and what put the company Glock on the map. Okay, let me just show you what's on the table real quick so we can get into this cool story. Right there on the top left is our 45, our Glock 30. That one does not have a rail, so if you're going to buy a Glock 30, get the SF model, which I'll show you here momentarily, is my opinion, so you can put a light and laser on it. That one there is a 10mm round. I like that round. That's a 29 with the rail. Same thing. If you're going to get the 29, get the SF model. It has the rail. Just to the right of it is a 29 without the rail. And just to the right of that, back there in the corner, is a big 10mm Glock 20C. Glock 20C. The C stands for compensator. On the top of that slide is 2 large holes, which helps reduce recoil. Over here in front, right there, is our Glock 19, 9mm. Over here is a big 45, crimson trace on that. That's a Glock 21. This has the rail. And here to the right of that, there's the Glock 30 SF model with the rail. So you have a light on there. I've got the crimson trace, and I have the 21 magazine in the 30, and I have a spacer there, and that's a pretty cool setup right there. That Glock 30 45. So that's just what's on the table. Okay, let me go to my story here. We're going to pan out and find a good spot. Let's see, right about there. Okay, let me tell you what put Glock on the map. And I'm not a perfectionist, so I'm sure there's a lot more information than what I'm about to give you, but this is kind of just a broad overview of a little story that took place between 1980 and 1982. And the Austrian military announced, we want to replace our handgun that our military is using. Right now they're using the Walther P38, and they've been using it for years. So all you manufacturers out there, let the games begin. The contest is on. We're going to give you a list of 17 bullet points of a criteria that your gun has to meet to win the bid. And a lot of the manufacturers got excited about this. They wanted to have their gun in the Austrian military's hands. So companies like Beretta of Italy, SIG, they put in a bid with their P220 and P226 models. H&K, they put an offer in with their P7 M8 model and a couple of others. And there was a number of manufacturers that got part of this bidding contest and quality contest, as I'm about to tell you about what the quality control was mandatory for the Austrian military, and it's really what helped Glock become Glock, because they were forced to get the smartest minds in Europe, and I'll tell you about that momentarily, but they were forced to put the smartest minds in Europe together to come up with the Glock 17, and they did it in a quick 90 days. But the bottom line is, the Austrian military wanted to replace their P38. They put up a contest. They told all the major manufacturers, this is what we want. We want a new gun, but it has to meet these requirements. And I'm going to go over some of the requirements that the gun had to meet to win the bid. And I'm not going to tell you all 17 because I'm going to be here all day. But I'll just tell you some of them. The must fire a 9mm NATO round, okay? Now the magazines may not require any means of assistance for loading. And there you go again with that self-loading. The magazines must have a minimum capacity of 8 rounds. So this was way back when we started with getting larger magazines, which is a good thing. And I think today we got magazines 15, 18, 19. You can put 19 rounds in the XD, I believe. It's pretty cool. All right, so that was one of the criterias. Disassembly. It must be possible without the use of tools. That's what the Australian military wanted. They said, all right, manufacturers, build us a gun. But I tell you what, if we're going to break it down, we don't want to use tools. We want to do it with our bare hands. We want our men in combat just to use their bare hands. And to clean the gun, same thing, no use of tools. And as we know, of course, that is true today. How simple is it to break down a Glock? How simple is it to clean a Glock? Now, this is really, really interesting. They said they want a pistol that does not have more than 58 individual parts. Well, there is not one pistol on this table that has more than 35 parts. Let's take a look at this t-shirt called Perfection. That's a Glock t-shirt. And I'm going to zoom in on it. That's a Glock 17. All the parts numbered. And look what they did as of modern day today. The largest number on there is number 33. That magazine is the 33rd part to this gun. So not only did they exceed the requirement of having a small amount of parts, and they blew everyone else away. They got 30-some parts in these guns, which is really cool. That makes it that much simpler. Simple is good, and that's what the Austrian military wanted. So what Glock did is, when they became aware of what the Austrian army's requirements were, in 1982 was when it really all started to happen. They assembled a team of Europe's leading handgun experts from the military, police, civilian, the gunsmiths, the smartest gunsmiths all throughout Europe got together. And Glock, they put together the Glock 17 within 90 days. And they took this prototype and they said, here you go, Austrian military. What do you think of this? Now what the Austrian military said was, well, let's see. So far everything looks so good. You met all the criteria I spoke about. But we want to shoot 10,000 rounds through this prototype Glock 17, which you made in just 17 days. And it better not have more than 20 malfunctions in the first 10,000 rounds fired. I mean, not even a minor jam would be considered a major jam. And it passed with flying colors. The Glock 17 back then was adopted by the Australian military. As of today, 2011, of course, they still use the Glocks along with hundreds and hundreds of law enforcement agencies throughout the world, and Glock is now, as we know, one of the largest gun manufacturers in the world. That's my little take on the story of what put Glock on the map back in between 80 and 82. I think it was a cool story, so if I come across something cool, I'm going to let you know. And by the way, there's my domain name for you to subscribe, weaponseducation.com. Of course, you can find me on YouTube. I'm really looking for subscribers. That's what motivates me. So kindly subscribe if you haven't. And if you already have subscribed, I really do thank you. It means a lot to me. It gives me motivation to do more of these videos. And that is the reason why I'm going to the range next week to do 10 to 12 videos. And I'll be doing videos, hopefully, you know, every other day at least, but maybe even every day if I get subscribers and I have a following. And I got a lot of good things about to come out. A lot of really cool surprises. Gear reviews, if you want gear reviews, for instance, I already did a really good gear review on that pouch, that Coronado leather pouch, which in my opinion is the best pouch made. I bought like 20 or 30 different pouches. So if you want gear reviews, I'll put them up there. I'm just a little hesitant because I don't want to bore you guys, but I'm into gear. I'm fortunate. I can buy pretty much anything I want when it comes to guns and all the gear, so I can buy it and review it for you. So gear reviews, going to the range is a promise. These types of informative reviews and one-on-one looking at the gun and discussing it like I did with that Kimber. I enjoy doing that. These are all in 1080p, so you can click on the bottom right of that screen there and pop it up to 1080p. You might have to pause your browser for a couple of minutes, but then you'll enjoy the video in 1080p. But there you go. That's my take on what put Glock on the map, and I bet you 90% of the viewers who are watching this like Glocks. So I think it's a pretty cool concept. I don't see what you would not like about a Glock. I think for the money, what a bang for the buck you get. $500 gun. There you have it. Take care. Straight Shooter checking out. Please subscribe. Thank you.